Timberborn is a game which often looks quite beautiful, particularly when it comes to a well-planned, efficient colony. Our problem? Ashford is neither beautiful, well-planned, or efficient. We've got a hodgepodge industry, placeholder locations for all of our buildings, and a nondescript housing tower. Though we won't be fixing all of these issues today, we'll start to tackle these problems by consolidating our industrial uses and rebuilding our housing. Though 1.0's copy and paste function will make relocating the industry a breeze, we might need something a little more powerful to expand housing. In doing so, we'll be covering all of the housing uniqueness the Emberpelts have. Our goal is to make effective use of the internal path feature of their lodges, packing our housing development full of leisure and decoration well-being boosters. We'll do so with aesthetics in mind, however, making our new housing center an exercise in function and form. So let's get started on making our beaver house a beaver home. Hello and welcome back to Ashford. Today we are going to be making this colony look less bad and also be more functional. Two things that it is currently sorely lacking in. First though, a small correction from last episode. We will grab this bad boy with the copy function. We will place it there. Then we will delete this one. We will grab it and we will reorient it upwards rather than sideways. Because if we keep it facing this way, then it takes too long to activate during a bad tide and we get a bunch of bad water down here. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but now it's fixed. So, well, fixed. It will be fixed once they build it. Anyway, our first task is going to be the industry over here. And I've got two things I want to do. I want to move all of this with our charcoal and clay and all that production. I want to move it over here where it's not taking up our main space anymore. And then I also am going to need to build us an explosives factory. When it comes to explosives, the factory is down here under landscaping. As always, it is going to cost 400 science points, 30 planks, 30 gears, 30 metal blocks. High chance of industry, but that's a risk we're going to have to take. And we are going to build it right here. We are then going to pause this because I don't want them to build it initially, because we are going to have a power issue. We are only generating 500 power. We are demanding 445 of it. Our factory here is going to take 150. I could always pause our large lumber mill since we are full on our storage for planks, but I don't think that is going to be our best option. I think we need to just build a second steam engine. So we're going to move our charcoal supply over here. We will get rid of these. And then I am going to need to build a bit of a platform out here. Not all of that, actually. I gave an extra layer there. Then we will need to connect these up with lines like so. We'll make those higher priority than everything else. And then we will let them build all of that. Or more so, I will wait till they build the lines and then I will stop paying attention. Okay. And then we can have them start on the explosives factory. And now that I've been forced to think about it, it is also a good time to expand our power generation because we do not have enough metal blocks. So we need to restart the smelter anyway. I'm also going to take this opportunity. We should open up our last Phoenix pod here. We have 10 beds. We won't end up filling those up before we build out our new housing. And we just need the bodies in labor, really, because we are adding even more jobs over here. And then the other place I do need to add jobs, we need more research. We're going to need a lot more research. Next episode, we may end up building a number cruncher, but this episode we will not get to it, so we will just have to do it with labor. And since I am just kind of queuing up as much building as possible over here, may as well get to moving this stuff. So this little clay pit we're going to put down here in an actual pit because it feels fitting. So we will grab stairs there and connect that up. We will need to grab this water tank. And then we will destroy this clay pit since we don't need it. We have a small industrial pile for clay here. I'm not going to replicate that. I am instead just going to build us another industrial pile, but this time make it for clay rather than doing another small one. We will then need to move both of these buildings out here, so we will just once again copy and paste them individually, because that will retain the settings of bricks and charcoal here, and they're not being used anyway, so I will go ahead and demolish them outright. We will copy our industrial pile for charcoal. We will put that here, and then copy the industrial or medium warehouse for bricks. That can go, I guess, right there. We have a beaver in our explosives factory, which means we are also going to need another medium warehouse for explosives. If it's not already abundantly clear from what's going on over here, this is all going to go fairly soon too. And by going to go, I mean I need to redo all of this storage. It is a mess currently. So that will be redone at some point. And by at some point, I do mean in the next episode, we're going to go into the storage for Emberpelts, which, as we can see, is a lot more complicated than other factions, perhaps. And all of our storage over here is built, so we will go ahead and demolish all of this along with too much of the path. We can also go ahead and pause our kilns for charcoal and bricks, because we do not need those running right this second. But otherwise, we will just need to let this explosives factory here run for a minute. And I'm realizing it is going to have to walk all the way out here to get bad water every time. So we will also give it a little tank for bad water that someone else can bring. And then I'm going to give them an opportunity to build up some supplies, maybe some research, and I will be back in a day or two. Now, we do also have a lot of beavers getting injured. Once again, this is going to be a bit of a placeholder for now. But we will just build some more beds for injured beavers. And with about 40 explosives built up, that should be more than enough for us. We will close down this factory for now so we don't keep hurting our beavers. We will reopen our kilns and our clay pit, and then with that all in place and this mostly clear, although I will take this opportunity to get rid of all of the dead tree stumps. And with that as clear as it can be and a drought rapidly approaching, let's move on to rebuilding our housing. So it is finally time to get rid of the ugly housing tower that we have had so far. This has housed 44 up to 45 beavers for us, but we don't want it anymore because it looks terrible. So a few things to note before we really get started. We should go back over how houses work. So as we have seen, lodges have an internal structure to them. Beavers can walk out of higher up doors than they entered on as long as the lodges are touching. They are fully pathed internally, so if a beaver walks in this door, they can walk out that door. Again, as long as the lodges are touching. And like any other lodge, they are solid. Things can be built on top of them, the same way it works for any other faction. So while we could obviously just build something along the lines of what we do in another faction, where we just build a few lodges, maybe have some stairs between them, that would not be taking full advantage of the benefits of playing the Emberpelt. So my goal today is to build a new housing structure that does take full advantage of the Emberpelts and their unique mechanics. We are going to leave this one standing until our new housing structure is complete. We will, I believe, need to get rid of a little bit of this cliff, so we will unlock dynamite, which will make some of what we are doing a little bit harder. So one of the things I want to take full advantage of in our new housing complex is going to be the capacity to be compact that this housing structure has. For example, if I wanted to, I could build a medical bed up here, and let's pause that so they don't actually build it, and then attach it with a path, and this medical bed will be fully usable by our beavers. In doing so, we are saving space that we would otherwise be putting medical beds on. And while that in and of itself is not impressive, that's how it works for any other faction, we do get the ability to forego adding stairs or anything of that nature. So because they can internally move between the buildings, that takes care of any sort of staircase we would normally need to get them up here. And so that functionally is going to be what I try to put into this new housing complex in a major way. So as usual, if we were to come down here to housing, we have all of our options for the different heights of housing that we can build. We obviously have our regular lodge, which we will be making a little use of, but not very much. We then have the mini lodge, which holds a single beaver. You may be surprised to hear we actually will be making use of this one, but mostly as filler. We have the vertical lodge, which is 2 high, holds 3 beavers. So that is just going to be the regular lodge, but turned vertically. We have the double lodge. That's going to be the same as the Folktales double lodge. We have the double vertical lodge, which is 4 high, holds 6. So it is essentially this, but stacked 2 high. We then have the triple lodge, which is the same as the Folktales. It loads on the 2nd floor. We have the large lodge, which is the same as the triple lodge, except for the entrance is on the bottom floor. And then we have the tenement lodge, which is going to be 2 triple lodges stacked on top of one another. It holds the exact same amount of beavers and costs twice as much. So it provides no benefit over building 2 triple lodges. It is just a way to build 2 at the same time rather than building 2 on top of each other. Now the mini lodge is going to be 50 science points and 5 logs. We're going to unlock it. The vertical lodge is going to be 100 science points, 12 logs. We're going to unlock it. I don't know why I said logs like that. The double lodge, 150 science points, 12 logs, 8 planks. The double vertical lodge, 150 science points, 12 logs, 8 planks. The triple lodge, 12 logs, 8 planks. And then this actually also takes 12 bricks. We'll unlock that. And the large lodge is going to be the exact same as the triple lodge, other than it loads on the bottom. The tenement lodge we will unlock in just a minute. We don't have the science points for it, and really, I don't know if we're going to be making much use of them anyway. But I will unlock it just so that we can have it in the build. So the first thing I want to do is going to be just an example of making use of that verticality. We are going to cut a hole into the earth here. So we're going to do a 2x3, the size of a triple lodge. And then we will blow a hole in the ground here. Now I am setting this back from the path 1 space just so that I have some extra space to decorate later. And then we are going to grab the triple lodges. We are going to put 1 right here and 1 right here. We will connect this bottom one up with a path, which will mean that this top one is accessible to our beavers because they can go in down here, come out up here. This in particular gives us an opportunity we do not have on the Folktales because our path goes all the way up here now. We can take our well-being building, go to rooftop terrace, build an actual rooftop terrace like this, and then what we will see once they are done building is that this rooftop terrace functions how you might expect a rooftop terrace to function if you saw a building like this. They will go in here on the bottom floor, go up to the top floor, and use this rooftop terrace as if it were connected like this one. And what we will see once they have some leisure time to use it, our beavers will do so. They will come and use this rooftop terrace. Now, that in and of itself, useful, but we could build rooftop terraces before. We can build them on platforms. They're not really hard to squeeze into something. Honestly, on this build right here, we could have just built a platform and then a spiral staircase, and our beavers would be able to use this if it was facing the other direction. So this perhaps is not revolutionary, even if it is cool. What is revolutionary for the Emberpelts is they also have the ability to build internally. So this building is flat on its top. We want to be able to get up here and do something up here. What we can do, just grab a regular lodge, place it here, and then we will see that our beavers will go inside of this lodge and are able to build one up from in here. So they build a lodge on top. We can then go to well-being, unlock our contemplation spot, place that up here, maybe even a decoration. We can put a shrub up here as well. They will then build those, and as we will see at nighttime, they're probably using the other spots, but they can come and use this contemplation spot, and they can come and use this rooftop terrace. There they go. So we've effectively eliminated the need that other factions have for staircases and logistical pathing just by using these lodges. Now, this in and of itself is cool, but we need a lot more beds. We have 40 beavers that are alive. We've only gotten, well, it's 9, 9, and 3, so 21 beds out of here. We're going to need a lot more to replace the functionality of this ugly block of lodges. We will just start building this up. Let's give ourselves a triple lodge down here. And then I will build a mini lodge here. Now this is going to be sort of filler because I want to build another triple lodge up top like this. And of course this will cause no issues because they will be able to go, you can actually see this one poking out from inside of this lodge, but they will be able to go in down here or over here to get up to this upper mid triple lodge that we have. Now at the moment, this upper entrance is not actually going to be doing anything for us. We may add something up here that they can access from up top, but right now it's just going to be kind of a deck for them to look out of, which they don't do in and of themselves, so it's just kind of decorative, I guess is my point. And now from here we want to move up another level, and we've got kind of a triangular shape going on here, so I'm going to keep that going. I'm going to use another mini lodge, and I'm going to place it here, and then I'm actually going to have to get rid of this shrub because I'm going to want a path here. We'll replace that decoration in a second. So this lets us get up another level. I'm going to build a double lodge up here, and I'm going to build a, where is it? A spiral staircase to get to it. This is not necessary. I just think it is going to look nice. For the most part, they won't use this. I am going to put some stuff over here that they will come out to use, but I think that they'll forego the staircase for the internal path. But it will look nice externally, and that's why I'm doing it, because that's half of the game. So with that all in place, we now have more than the 40 beds that we need to support all of our beavers. So I will go ahead and I will demolish all of this, getting those resources back and getting rid of those beds. We will see that the beavers will gradually go and fill up the beds in this apartment complex. However, we are not done. Obviously, we still have a few more things to do over here, just to make this look as nice as it can. I'm going to replace that shrub we deleted, and I'm also going to unlock the brazier, and we're going to put that right here to keep our beavers' toes toasty. We will build another platform, and we will put a medical bed up here for them to use so that we can move our medical beds out of here. And then I want another decoration here. I want roofs. So if we come down here to decoration, we will notice that we have a lot more roofs than we have on other factions. We have things that we expect. We have like the long 2x3s. We have the 3x2 that has the path on top of it. The regular 2x2. We also have half roofs. And this is what I'm actually going to use here. So these we have a 1x1, a 1x2, and a 2x1. We also have a 2x2 and half roofs. We are going to make use of the 1x2. We'll unlock that and we will put it there and there to get ourselves some of that roof benefit. Now the thing we need to take into account, we have 41 beavers, we have 41 beds, but we are going to keep producing beavers out of these breeding pods. As we can see, one of them is about to finish, and we should have a place for that beaver to sleep. We can continue to build out here. We will go with a large lodge on the ground and a triple lodge above it. And we can give that large lodge a path connection. So we will connect that from both ends so that they can get to this large lodge to go in there as well. And then we can also fit something in here. I don't really want to use another big lodge. I think it'll look out of place here. I'm going to use a double lodge. I'll turn it to face that way. And then up on top of this triple lodge, I want to be able to put another medical bed. But we currently have an issue. Over here, we used a single lodge as a way to get rooftop access. If we were to try to use the same thing here, the single lodge is 2x1. So we do not have a way to get out with the single lodge without building a platform or something to turn around, and that will just look odd with what we're doing here. The Emberpelts, however, have a solution. It is going to involve using these walkways. Walkways are, as we can see, a way to travel between lodges. So they are essentially solid paths. You can build things on top. They cost 100 research to unlock, 2 planks, 4 logs. We could build walkways like that, but we will see that walkways do not typically connect 2 paths. So we'd have to build one of these, a walkway entrance, which adds a door to the walkway. That's another 100 science points. And we could build something like that, just if we wanted to use these walkways as paths. This is, of course, kind of a silly way to use a walkway. It is really just replicating the function of putting platforms over a path. So it's not clear why we would ever actually want to do this. But the thing walkways can do, if we were to place them on a lodge, they will automatically connect with adjacent lodges. So as we see, we put a door here. It is connecting to this lodge, and vertically to this double lodge beneath it. That will mean that since we used a door here, this door here will essentially give us access onto this roof. We can then grab a path, put it on this roof, and grab a medical bed and just stick it right here. So now our beavers, once this is complete, will be able to just go through this lodge and up to this medical bed. That will allow us to delete 2 of the standing medical beds. We can then unlock the 1x1 half roof, extend out our half roof here, and in this tiny corner at the end, I'm actually going to unlock the beaver bust for 200 science points and stick that down right there. So now we are making effective use of a lot of this space. We still have this area up here that we can use vertically. So we will once again grab our walkway entrance here and just use that as a door at the top. We will path up here, I will extend one bit of this roof, and then we will do another medical bed because we're trying to replicate most of the ones that we just added. We could also go ahead and unlock the scratcher, put it there. And then in this corner, I'll just go with another shrub. And before I forget, I will extend our roof up this way. And I will just, rather than unlocking the double roof, we will do two 2x1s. And there's also another reason for that, but we'll talk about that later on in this episode. So that is going to be our main housing structure. As we see, we have bumped our well-being up to 19 with all of this. And we have gone from about 45 to 66 beds. But that's not enough. I mean, it is, but it's not enough for me. This is good, but it'd be even better if we had a second one. Maybe right here. Of course, I could go through and copy the whole design. That would take too long. Instead, let's move on to the next part of the episode, the Blueprints mod. As I said in the intro, the Blueprints mod is going to be our first non-Bobingabout authored mod that we put into Ashford here. This one is by, I think it's an emoticon, cross emoticon, Luke, Jesus saves, cross emoticon. They do a ton of Timberborn mods. This is just one of the many mods they've made that I will be putting into this series as it goes on. But because of the use of its functions, it felt like a worthy first inclusion. If we come down here to the far right end of our toolbar, which has now expanded by 1, we have building blueprints. Our options are going to be create blueprint, build blueprint, and demolish blueprint buildings. Right now, we don't have anything to build because we have not made a blueprint yet. So we're going to click on create building blueprint. Normally we can press V to toggle copy building settings. We want this on yes, even though these buildings don't have settings. It just makes more sense to me to keep it on yes normally. And then we're going to left click. It will create this white square and we can click and drag like so. What we will see is that it is highlighting most of our building white. It is not highlighting the far left lodge here. That is because it starts lower than where we're starting. But for this building in particular, since it is tunneled into the ground, we actually want that to not be included. It's going to be fairly easy to replicate it once we copy this building. We will also notice that it is highlighting all of the paths and such. Those will be copied along with the building when we save and copy this. So we're going to let go of left click. It will come up with this screen, create building blueprint. It shows all of the buildings that are included as well as the cost of building the whole thing. We can name our blueprint. We will call this Emberpelts Lodge V1. Shows the area, and then we can click Save Blueprint. So that has then saved somewhere on our computer. And if we go over here to Build Blueprint, we will see that we have Emberpelts Lodge V1. There's no tags. This shows all of the different buildings. So we have the triple lodges, we have the roofs, the contemplation spots. All of that are shown here. We have the full cost for building it. We can edit it and add tags if we want. We can put apartment complex, and then that will be the tag. If we were to build more and more apartment complexes, we could only show blueprints that have that tag. But what we want to do is come down here to build, and we will see that we now have lots of lag, but also we can see this building here. We can rotate it with R the same way we can rotate any other buildings. We can press V from here to toggle whether we are ignoring the settings of the building after the fact if we had already copied the settings onto the building and we were like, actually, we don't want it to do so here. We can press Control P, which will put us into high performance mode, which just means that it's not validating whether or not the building can actually be placed. By which I mean, normally not in high performance mode, we can see that it's green when the building is not conflicting. But if any of the buildings are conflicting and won't be able to be placed, they show up as red. It normally does that as you are mousing over anything. Every time you move it to any separate tile, it'll revalidate everything, so it can be a bit taxing on your computer. So you can turn it on to high performance mode, and then it won't validate ever until you place the building. We have the option if we wanted to, say, build this building here. We don't want that little outcropping on the side, but we do want the main bulk of the building. If we press left shift while we left click, it'll build and only place the valid buildings and not the ones that are showing in red. And then we can press in, which will allow us to nudge the blueprint with the camera keys rather than moving it around with the mouse. This also gives us the ability to raise and lower the blueprint like so. We don't want to do any of that. What we want to do is we want to press F to flip the building. Now it's important to note that this does not flip everything. It only flips things that will normally flip if you press F. As we can see, our roofs are getting all wild up there. We will fix that before we actually let our beavers build them. But the bulk of the buildings are able to be flipped with F. So as we see, we've essentially taken what we built over here and just mirrored it perfectly on the other side. So we're going to take that and we're going to stick it right here. And we will see that it places all of this down to be built. We will pause it for a second as we switch these roofs around. Then we will also need to replicate this building again. So we will dynamite a hole to put that in. And then we will copy our paths back. And our beavers will begin to come and build all of this a second time. We will copy that rooftop terrace design we had over on the other side. And then we will be boosting our available beds from a total of 65 to a total of 130, which should allow us to make do with most expansion we will have from this point forward. Luckily, the blueprint mod works really well with the Emberpelts because they can build internally, which means that we don't have to worry if we had built this, for example, with scaffolding earlier, we don't have to worry about rebuilding it with the blueprint. They can just take care of it all themselves. Now, since they're building this, I also want to get rid of one of these medical beds and move the teeth grindstone up here. And then I will delete everything over here in front of the district center that we have so that that will be less cluttered. Though they are still in the middle of building all of this, I do just want to show off the other function of the building blueprints mod. If I were to say, hey, this was good for now, but I need even more open beds and I want to place it here. If I come down to building blueprints and go to demolish building blueprint, this entire structure is still, for the purpose of the building blueprint, considered one thing. So this one is not, even though we made the blueprint out of this building, this is still considered one somehow computationally. So we could use demolish building blueprint to take the entire thing down at once. That's not going to be super relevant to housing, but maybe you have something that is intended to be a tower for gravity batteries, and you also have scaffolding you need to get up to it while you're building it. You could have the scaffolding as one building blueprint and the tower as another, have the scaffolding and the tower built as one, then demolish only the scaffolding and leaving the tower intact with one fell swoop. Of course, we can demolish the buildings normally, but then we have to do something like that. We don't want to demolish it though, because we are building it. It is under construction, and that would be silly. Now, while they finish up this second apartment complex, there are two more things I want to do here. I'm going to get rid of some of these paths, and I'm going to take our campfire, and I'm going to put two of them here. Now, they do have to go through the buildings to get to this path, but as we know, that does not cause any sort of issues for our Emberpelts, so that is more than fine. And I am also going to take this opportunity to delete this half roof that I said I was going to get rid of, because though it will not be relevant right now, it will be sometime later on down the line. I want to make a connection up at the top between these two buildings. Now I can do that again with walkways. Walkways do not float. They have to be placed on something solid. But what we do have are walkway bridges. So we're going to use a 2 and a 3 here since we've got a 3 long gap. The 2 is going to be 250 science points, 12 logs, 8 planks, and 4 metal blocks. The 3 is going to be 20 logs, 14 planks, and 6 metal blocks for 360 science points. We will unlock both. And then right in the middle here, we will just place one on one side of the housing complex and the other on the other, right above our path down below. Now, since these are walkways and they are placed on our building, they have an internal staircase and our beavers can use this to get through. It should also be noted that that will not function if we were to try to build the walkway here. We will see that there is no staircase there because this bit of the house is not solid enough, I guess, is the way to vocalize that. We need to place it on the bit that actually has the windows, not the deck here. So if we were to place that there, then it would be fine and not give us any issues. And then in this last spot here, we will replicate our 1x1 roof. And on top of both sides of this walkway, we will build beaver statues that will look out. And that is going to be our housing complex built, which means it is time to change gears just a little bit. And let's see how our dam from last episode actually handles a bad tide. And then with half a day remaining, the one thing I do need to remember to do, I switched this contaminations sensor's orientation, which means that these floodgates no longer are automated. So we will automate that one and we will automate this one, which should mean that this closes during the bad tide and this opens during the bad tide again. And then we will just have to wait out the rest of this half of a day. And we will see as the contamination hits, it'll flow down here. We will probably get a tiny bit. There we go. Nope, it actually did not get any in this. And then it will flow out here, since this contamination sensor is seeing some. It has caused a little bit of a flood, but honestly, I'm willing to deal with that over contamination spilling down here. I will lower this a tiny bit to try to reduce this flood water. And then this one we will also lower a tiny bit. And then there we go. That is balanced. This is now expelling all the bad water out here like we had planned. It's also expelling a tiny bit of water, it seems, because this is only at 50% contamination, weirdly. And I do want to mention, I did have a question from someone in the last episode asking why I put this flat top floodgate here in the middle rather than all the way over here. It's because we get bad water from both sources. So if I had put it over here, the bad water over on this side would have been, I mean, it just would have had to travel further, I guess, was my thought. And it should more evenly distribute going from here rather than going from this bit. But I ultimately could have done it from the far side over here. And it would have done better for that tunnel if I had. So, just personal opinion at that point, I guess. While we're waiting for that to finish up, I do want to just clean up a little bit here. We now no longer need this rooftop terrace or this campfire because we have more than double over here. I cannot get these 2 logs, so we will just send them to the nether. It's not really necessary, but I'm also going to unlock 2 small roofs for this bit, just so that it does have a roof and isn't a flat walkway. I also have one more little housing project I want to get to. We did not make any use of double vertical lodges in this build, and I want to change that. I like the double vertical lodge because I think it kind of looks like a townhome, but if we were to just do something like this, I think that looks pretty bad. So I'm going to do something else. Not going to leave it like that. I'm going to build these, but I'm going to stagger the heights. Probably going this way, so it's opposite of the build over here. So I'm going to need dynamite. I'm going to do a 4x4 and then a 4x4. In the very middle, we will have a full-sized vertical lodge here with a staircase up to it. We will blow these up because we will also need to do another round of dynamite, and then we will have one like so. Our Badtide is over. Let's see how quickly it clears. So this does stay pretty fresh. Or it does stay pretty contaminated until this is actually fresh at 2%. And then it will pop back and forth there, and then we've got 2% and it's coming through. So that means we do not have to worry about contamination there, which is good. And then we will connect in the 2 lower townhomes like that. So they need their little staircases down. And thinking about it, I don't like the way this has ended up looking, so I will build in a 3rd, and I'm gonna do something different with those nutrient pods anyway, so those can go. I don't know what's gonna be happening back here, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And then to finish this off, we just need to put roofs on all of these. I'm going to go... No, I don't actually like those 1x2s. I'm going to do something like that. And then I'm also going to give them a little deck on each. Let's see. How am I doing for... Scratchers and contemplation spots are both pretty low. So we will put... we'll go scratcher bottom, and we will go contemplation spot top. And then these middle ones for now can just have a path so they don't look like they're a place to fall off. But ultimately, I think that ends up looking pretty nice, in my opinion. So there's only one thing left to do. That is going to be deal with these breeding pods that I deleted a second ago. And also expanding them out. Because we now have 118 extra unoccupied beds. I think we maybe have one of these apartment buildings full. But then these townhomes and this other half of the apartments are both staggeringly empty. So we will move the bulk of our breeding pods, and we're going to go up to 6 to right here for now. This one we will also delete. This one we will let finish before we delete it. And there we go. We will get rid of that one. Now 6 of these with our 21 average well-being and plus 40 to life expectancy will end up supporting about 60 to 80 beavers, give or take. So we're still not going to be filling up all of these beds. But before we even try to do that, we have to deal with the fact that we are not storing very many nutrients. We are not storing very much of anything. Most goods in this colony are currently transient, and that is ultimately what we are going to end up tackling in the next episode. For now, though, with the town bit of Ashford looking a lot more like an actual town, that is where we are going to leave today's episode. If you have enjoyed and you want to see more and you have not yet, then please do consider subscribing. Or if you would prefer, you can go and join the Discord. On that, I do send out notifications for both videos and streams. So if you want to catch those as well, then consider going and doing that. Otherwise, go ahead and tell me in the comments down below how you feel about these two structures. This was ultimately more of an artistic endeavor, I guess, that I have done so far in Ashford. I think it looks pretty good. There might be something that just is glaringly bad that I'm not seeing. So please do let me know. One thing I am thinking, these shrubs could probably be lanterns because this walkway at night, other than your toasty toes, does seem very dangerous if you just fall off of here. Maybe that'll be a change I make in the future, but no promises. Other than that, as I said before, we will be back in the next episode for dealing with storage because this is not looking good. As always, thank you so much for watching. You could have been doing anything. You chose to watch me play with some beavers that don't like water and have houses with internal stairs. And I appreciate you doing so. Ashford continues to burn brightly, and I will see you next time.